Hello, it's Sharon, and today I'm going to show you how to make yourself a bottle light. Just going to hold these up for you just to show you. So these are good. You can have them in the house for decoration, or you can have them in the garden. Now all I suggest is that if you do have them in the garden, that you do use a varnish on them, because otherwise if it rains and they're outside, it will just wash off. All the decoration, all the time you spent on it will just wash away. So I'm just going to turn them on to show you the effect. Now this has been made using, I've done a base coat with paint, then covered it with some tissue paper. Then on top of that we've gone back over it with a sort of glittery glue, and I've also used, right here, we've used some sea glass on it that I've collected. It's quite effective, but yeah, as that one's definitely been varnished. This one is a bit more my rustic number. There we go, that's with the light on. So it's just, this was a green bottle that I used for this, and I've used a yellow paint to go over the top, sort of yellowy, quite sure really, but yeah, mustardy yellow. I'll leave that one on. And this one's just sort of coloured stripes. It's got a glaze over the top. You can probably see it's quite shiny, and they always do look a little bit different when you've got the light on. So if I pull that down, hopefully you can see them. So imagine it being much darker than this. They're absolutely amazing. So I'm going to turn that off, it just saves the power. And I'm going to put them to one side. Oops. Like so. Now what you're going to need, I'm going to just lift that up so you can actually see me. What you're going to need, you're going to need some newspaper, because it can get messy. As you can see, I've got orange paint all over my hands. I've been having a little practice and getting things ready. Scissors might be useful. Definitely maybe a couple of paintbrushes, some paint of your choice. I'm using, I'm making an orange today, so I've just got some acrylic paint. I've got red and I've got yellow. Also, if you have takeaways and you know the lids of the takeaway container, they're really useful to use as a paint palette. So if you've got anything like that, that'd be quite good. You don't have to, you can use a pot, but they're really good. Now I've got some craft sponges, but a normal sponge will also do. You can always just cut it into bits, or a makeup sponge. I specifically buy makeup sponges just for this, not to put makeup on, but I buy them because I like the sort of the size of them. They're really good to work with. But yeah, I picked these up a while ago, and they're quite good as well. And you'll also need one of these lights. Now you can pick these up. They might even sell them in pound shops. You can pick them up online. I know that in some pound shop they have had them, and they actually had a bottle with them as well, so that's quite useful. So quite easy to get hold of. And now this one, I'm just going to show you sort of with the green one, but we will be working with a clear bottle as well. So a bottle needs to be clean, needs to be washed inside and out, all labels removed, and if you find that there's a bit of gooey glue sort of left on, if you just put a little bit of washing up liquid on, a really good scrub with like a wire pad or something, that tends to do it, and just give it a right good wash afterwards. Leave it to dry. That way up in your, if you've got something to stick things on the draining board, just leave it like that. So it'll dry out, and I'd leave it a couple of days to actually fully dry inside and out. You don't have to use like a wine bottle or anything. I've had some flavoured water that's come in glass bottles. They're good as well. So these are just what I've got available at the moment. So take one bottle, make sure you've got some newspaper down, and grab yourself one of these lids. Now I am going to do orangey again. I'm going to do it slightly different this time. So put my two paints on there. I'm just going to lower that so you can actually see me working. And just going to mix those in together. Now it's a bit red for my liking. So I will add a little bit more yellow. Not too much. A couple of drops. There we go. Just mix it in. Now when you've got the colour that you want, I'm going to leave it like this because it is quite bright and it's a bit sort of, it's a very bold, bright orange, almost red, but yeah. And you hold your bottle. I've just got my finger in the top. Don't get it stuck, but just hold it and hold it there. I've left the collar on. They tend to come with like a metal collar. On this one it's just plain black, so I left it on because it's useful. You can always take it off afterwards. So I'm just working down the bottle with the sponge. That's it. Just gonna add some colour. Now with it being a green bottle, I suppose it's a bit harder to see, but I am going to bring the other one in soon. I prepared one earlier so that we could work on a dry bottle, because the thing is you need to leave it to dry between layers. And you can stick to just one coat, although two tends to be better. The only thing is, all I'll suggest is when you're putting it on, and always leave your sponge dry. Don't wet it first, because it's not a good effect. It doesn't go on as well, so you really need to start off with a dry sponge. Yeah, 2 layers is good. The only thing, like I say, is if you're building up your layers, let it dry thoroughly, and when you're putting it on, just be careful, because sometimes you can take off the layer below, and you really don't want to do that. So there we go. Just keep going round, as you can see. Just going to show you the bottle. There's bits that I've not done yet, obviously, so we're just going to go over them. Then when it's done, if you need to put more paint on, do. Don't worry if it's a different shade. That's the beauty of these things. There's no sort of organised way of doing it. It's just however it turns out, which I always find the best. So it's fully coated all the way around now. If you just want to go over it and just dab your sponge, you might want to make a bit of a pattern in there with your sponge. It's up to you. Right, so I'm going to put that outside to dry. So there we have, fully covered, just moving back so you can see, a fully covered bottle. So that's going to go in the garden. So it's nice and, well, it was nice and sunny. It's looking a little bit dull now. So once you have dried your bottle, I prepared these earlier. I've got a couple of them. This one has had one coat of the yellow. You can move on to the next stage, you see, in a moment. And this has had 2. Now there's not a lot of difference at all, but it's just, you know, it's personal choice really. I'm going to show you a couple of techniques that I use when I'm doing mine. So firstly, what I'm going to do, got another one of my lids, and I've got a piece of bubble wrap that I've cut into a circle, using the bubbly side up. Oops, I don't want that on there, although it won't really show because we're using, it's going to be on an orange surface anyway. I've got a bit of tissue with me. You may need to keep stopping and just sort of washing your hands. It depends, you know, wipes, whatever. I'm just going to continue going because I'm so used to doing it that it doesn't bother me. So we'll do this one first. So there we go. This is a small, quite dumpy shaped bottle. I'm not quite sure what was in it. I get a lot of them donated because people know that I make these things. And one of our lovely sundaes. And I'm just going to put a small amount of white paint on there. Oops. Don't need too much. And just now if you've got a bit of card or something, you can use it as a tester. It's always quite good. And because I'm using white paint, I'm using black card. So just dab it on. Not too thick. And that's just onto your circle. Now I'm just going to test it out, and I'm going to put it on this piece of card, flatten it down. See if that's the look I'm wanting. Yes, it is. Now, so I'm going to give it another quick coat. Like I say, you don't want it too thick or you can't see the pattern. And I'm going to get my bottle. Cross your fingers. Let's hope this works. And I'm going to work from this side. So I'm going to put that there. Just going to place that on gently. Pat it down with your fingers, not too much. I'm going to peel off. Might not be able to see it very well from there. Doesn't particularly look like flowers at the moment. A bit more on there. Not too much again. And we're going to put it on a different part of the bottle now, so I'm just going to slightly round. Press that down, hold it on a moment, and peel. And put another one on. Oops. There, just pat it down. Now, it's completely up to you how you do it. I'm just giving you some ideas. And in a moment, what we're going to do is we're going to leave these to dry. Just find a space for that. So we'll put that one there. Doesn't matter if they overlap. It's fine. There we go. I know it's quite difficult to see. Well, it is for me. And don't know if there's enough paint on there because I've used the same one, but hopefully might be very fine. There. So you can put them everywhere if you want. Oops. More paint on there. And I think we'll have one here. Oops, bring it over a little bit, press it down. Perfect. Peel. There we go. Now they remind me of the dandelion clocks, but we all see things differently. That doesn't look very impressive yet. Not impressive enough. So I'm just just going to push that there, leave it to dry for a bit, and we're going to work on the other one. When it's done, it'll look fab. So with this one, you will notice things will be more noticeable on this one. It's going to be a brighter colour. So I'm using what I had earlier, but I'm changing the colour, and I'm just moving these little sponges to the side. In fact, we'll use the white one. And in a space on there, I'm just going to put a little bit of purple paint. Oops. And I'm going to get a brush. It's got quite a fine tip on it. And I'm just going to put on some paint on it. There we go. Don't have it too thickly coated. And I'm just going to find a spot on my bottle, and I'm just literally going to do a go. Continue that round. You can turn your bottle if you want as you go, if it's easier for you. Don't worry if you've got like sort of see-through bits, it's fine. Oops. There. And I think we'll have, no, that's actually fine. So got that, because we're going to put another colour on in a minute. We're not quite done yet. So do a few more of these. So paint those swirls on. They can be different sizes, so you can do some big, some small. It's very relaxing. I love painting and doing these. Oops. I was getting a bit thick there, so I'm just going to leave it. Go back onto this one. Maybe one more on there. Work your way around the bottle. Do as many as you want. You might only want some on the front. You might want them all the way around. There we go. That's 3 so far, so we'll do one down here. Don't have to all be facing the same way. So when I say that, some are curving to the left, some are curving to the right. Don't want to confuse anyone. I think I've gone mad. Oops. Oops, that's a bit thick. Now some of your undercoat might come off because I've not left it to dry that long. Don't worry, it's good to have see-through little bits because we're going to have a light in there soon. So I'm going to leave that as it is for now, I say, and then start painting on it again. And I'm going to let it dry. Or maybe not. What I'm actually going to do is I've decided to get some of this white. Oops. And with a different brush, this one's a little bit thicker, doesn't matter. I'm going to move on to the second part of the swirl. You can actually, if you want, do the same, but just add, so it's very light. So it's still purple, but it's very light purple. Just add that white. That's the difference. There we go. Lovely lilac. Right, and same again, but obviously in the gaps between. So 1, 2, 3, keep going. Go. And we'll move down to this one. Don't worry about if they're different thicknesses, it's fine. Going to go onto this one. It might get a little bit of the paint from the others mixed in as well, but the swirl I did before, I personally don't mind that happening. Oops, bring that down there. So I've just got one more to do. Ooh, got a bit much of the purpley in there, so I'm just going to go over it with the white. There. Oops. Just a couple more bits. So there we have the next stage. Just going to move that, don't need paint all over my laptop. Just move that, and I'll just be back in a few moments. So when it's dry, this isn't quite dry, but I'm going to show you on this one. I often add a bit of glitter. So I've just got some PVA glue. Just going to put a little bit. I've cleaned my palette. Don't need too much. Now you have two choices. You can actually use the glue and you can paint it across. So if you wanted to paint it across your swirly flower, you can. And we can do that. Or you can add the glitter. So I've got a nice silver here. And we've got a lovely pink. Mix of both. We're just going to mix that in. So I'm going to use one of the brushes. I'm using a fine one. I just recommend that as soon as you've finished, when you've done this, so as you can see, I'm mixing the glitter in. So it doesn't look very glittery, but when it's dry, it will. And dab some on. Now I'm just going to go for the centre. Now I know it's hard to see, so I will actually pour some glitter on so you see it better. You can have it coming out a little bit. So we'll go for the silver with this one. And you need a bit of card underneath. So that card you used earlier on can come in useful. And just a little bit of glitter on there. Just tap it. You've got glitter in the centre. Now you can use the different colours for each one. I'm just going to put a daub of gluey glitter in the middle of here. And I think for this one, we'll use the pink.
Well, like you knocking.
We'll use the pink.
I was just saying.
Man, sorry about that interruption. There. I've got a pink centred one. And this one. So with this one we'll go for, we've got silver, so we'll go for 2 pinks. Oh yeah, we'll go for silver up here as well. As you can see. And for the last one, we might as well do the pink. I've got 2 of each. Pink. And there you have a flowery bottle. So I'm going to do a little bit more work on the other one. We'll leave that one to dry. This is the one that supposedly looks a bit like dandelion clocks. Don't worry if it doesn't, and you know, we all see stuff a bit different. I'm going to just use some glue. I'm not going to do it with the glue that I've made on there. And I'm just going to put that glue like that. I'm going to get a clean sponge. Oops, sorry about that. So I'm using the end of this one because it's, and I'm just going to dab it on, a bit random, onto those flowers that I made earlier. Then I'm going to sprinkle on some glitter. Now what I tend to do is I have a little tube that all the leftover colours, so I always get a spare piece of paper and drop it on. That doesn't look so fantastic at the minute. Just like that, and just wipe off some of that excess. It's all trial and error because they don't always turn out how you want them to. We can sort of have a vision of something looking one way and it comes out and it's like, nah, it's not quite how I thought it was going to be. That's the thing. You can just, if they don't work, you can just give them a really good wash, hot soapy water, and start again. Not quite the same if you put your varnish on. If you've got varnish on, that doesn't quite work. A little bit of glue on there. We're going to stick a bit more glitter on. Now if you're lucky and you've got an extra brush with you or something, you can, there, that's a better effect. Just put it on the dry bit of sponge. I don't know if you can see that. And just going to tap the brush on. Oops. Sprinkle on that glitter. The sponge effect is better, I think, but oops, sprinkle that on. Oops. So we have a glittery effect there. Now it still doesn't look great, but well, it looks good. I like it. I'm a bit disappointed in that one because it's not quite how I wanted it to go. That's the thing, like I say, you can sort of picture something and it doesn't always work out how you want. So I'm just going to wipe that dry on there. And because I'm only going to be using a small amount, where are we, of green paint that I did prepare earlier, but it seems to have disappeared. There we go. Just a little bit. Oops. Maybe that's more than I need, but I can always use it on something else. And I want a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of blue. Not quite the tiny bit of blue, but so we're going to mix them together. We'll somehow come to the colour that I want. There you see, it's going a bit darker. Don't want it too dark because we still want to see the green, but the green we had was a bit too bright for what I'm wanting to do. Now I've actually got some string. I don't know if this is going to work. We will soon find out. I'm going to put that there. Got my scissors. Got some garden twine here. And I'm just going to cut myself a piece off. So it doesn't have to be too long. There we go. And I'm just going to dip it, back to being messy again, into the paint. And just going to run it down there, and hopefully this will work. And I'm just going to print on. So we're going to go up there. We've got another one here, look. Laying it on the bottle. Print. Doesn't have to be perfect. That paint in, and we're going to take that here. Bring it across. And any more? Oh yeah. So we're going to have one here. Going to get that coming down. Let it bend a little bit on there, or it can come straight. It's up to you. Just press it in. The print will come off. And bottom one. I'm going to turn this round because this will be wet. It's got a bit of paint on it. And we're going to go that way again. Press it in. There you go. So they're the stalks. This is my interpretation of the dandelion. And I'm just going to put that to the side. And then we're going to do the all-important bit of showing you them with the lights in. So leave them to dry for a while. So I've given them time to dry. And in this one I've already fixed the lighting. So some of the paint has come off under there, but you can see the green stalk. So they are dandelions. Dandelion clocks and stalks. And this is swirly flowers. This one you can see much better. Now I've already put the light in there, and with this one we're just going to unravel it. Just be careful because they can be quite delicate. And we're just going to push one inside. Hopefully it'll open itself up a little bit as it goes in. So that's what you really ideally want it to do. Move that back. You can see me threading, or maybe not. There you go. I'm threading that light into the top of the bottle. And put it in. There. And then when they're done, if you pop on the lights, there's a dandelion one. Just going to turn it round so you can see. And there is the flowery one. Now if I just close my curtains, let's see if we can get a better effect for you. There we go. So there we have. It's not totally dark, but it's dark enough to actually get a better effect from the bottles. So there we have the finished light. If you do want to use it outside, like I say, I would advise you to use a clear varnish on it, and do that when you're varnishing it, do that outside or in a really well ventilated room, but preferably outside if the weather's good. There we are. So I'm just going to show you a couple of the other ones. Seeing as it's darker, nice little collection there. And this is the tea glass one. So I think you'll agree, they're quite effective when they're done. They're really, really nice, and they're quite fun to do. They can be quite messy and a bit fiddly, but don't let that put you off. Please have a go and send us pictures in of your finished bottle lights. Let us see what you've done. It's always nice to see the results. So enjoy what you're doing. Take care, and thank you for joining me. Bye.